too far.
BETTA. That's the way you spell better when you're confident in knowing that trouble don't last always. Our song of the day, the Feel God song of the day, done for us by Pastor Charles Chenier, reminds us that things can only get better. It's available on all digital platforms or wherever you buy your music. Welcome to A Soft Place to Fall. I'm your host, Kerwin Fealing. November is Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month, a deadly disease. It's one of those diseases that's usually diagnosed late in the stages. Our guests today have formed a soft place to fall for those who are dealing with the disease and for loved ones who have lost someone to pancreatic cancer. We'll talk more about that in this episode of A Soft Place to Fall. We're here to guide you through and take you to that place of restoration, rejuvenation, and resilience. I'm going to go and change clothes. Well, that's what I do. But for now, here's how I'm feeling. If God hadn't been for us, all together now Israel sing out. If God hadn't been for us, when everyone went against us, we would have been swallowed alive by their violent anger, swept away by the flood of rage, drowned in the torrent. We would have lost our lives in the wild, raging water. Oh, blessed be God. He didn't go off and leave us. He didn't abandon us defenseless, helpless as a rabbit in a pack of snarling dogs. We've flown free from their fangs, free from their traps, free as a bird. Their grip is broken. We're free as a bird in flight. God's strong name is our help, the same God who made heaven and earth. Over 40 acres of peace and tranquility. That's the best way to describe Southern Memorial Gardens. For more than 5 decades, the staff and management have provided families with the peace of mind that their final resting place for their loved ones will be one that will be well maintained and one that they will be proud of. It may not be the easiest conversation to have, but pre-need arrangements are available, and the conversation promises to be professional, comfortable, and concise. Visit southernmemorialgardens.net and find them on Facebook. Southern Memorial Gardens and Mausoleums, the most prominent cemetery in the Baton Rouge area. They care about you and your loved ones.
A soft place to fall.
And welcome to another fantastic edition of A Soft Place to Fall. We talk about a soft place to fall, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a physical place, but it could very well be. When we think about a soft place to fall, Psalms 91 comes to mind. He that dwells in the secret place of the Most High God shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. So whenever confusion and confrontations go on, we're always looking for that soft place to fall. And in our everyday lives, there are things that pop up and we kind of figure out what is really going on. My guest today has been there, like so many of us have been. And she's here to share with us. I kind of titled this episode, Misery, Ministry, and Medicine. And with that, I welcome you, my friend, Dr. Joyce. Thank you so much for accepting our gracious invitation.
Always.
Okay, now there's one question that I always ask.
Yes.
And I'm going to ask you, and then we'll compare answers and see if yours is right. How did you get here?
By the grace of God.
Oh, nailed it. That's exactly the correct answer. But we've had conversations for many, many years. So
Yes,
first, tell my listening audience, my viewing audience, a little bit about who you are.
Wow.
And we only have 30 minutes now.
Okay.
So tell us a little bit about who you are and
Who am I? First of all, I am a child of the King. That's who I am. I am the oldest daughter. I am a mother of three. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a writer, artist, and sometimes Satan's worst nightmare, for one thing. I'm a person that has a passion for life, and I love the outdoors, and I love to create. I don't believe in anything that's traditional, even religion. So I just ticked off a whole bunch of folk, but that's what I do.
That's perfect.
I'm someone who's invested in building, doing kingdom building, and trying to raise up mankind.
Well, you kind of summed it up, and which leads us to, of course, we found another soft place of fall. We're
Yes.
here on the beautiful, anointed,
Beautiful.
holy grounds of
Yes.
Reverend Gloria's right.
Beautiful.
And another soft place
Beautiful.
of fall. So we're here with conversations from the couch,
All right.
as we like to say. Now, you talked about all of those things that you are. And,
Yes.
we'll talk a little bit without diving too deeply into personal things.
Okay.
Because as we kind of conduct these as conversations,
Right.
not interviews where I'm
Right.
prying.
Right.
But I know throughout the years that you have had the awesome opportunity to connect and talk. You have gone through so much
Yes.
in life. And when we talk about a soft place of fall, I know that you perhaps have found many,
Oh yes.
and they may have not been labeled as such. I tell
Correct.
all of my guests that I call it a soft place of
Yes.
fall, but you just call it doing what you do
Yeah.
to get away from what's going on. But there had to have been some breaking point early on that caused you to seek out refuge, restoration, and resilience. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, growing up as a child, where there's a broken home, and you don't realize the home is broken until you hear those whispers and see the disconnect between you and other people in your family, how you are relegated early to failure, and nobody sees they don't see your real worth. They don't see the vision that God has for you or who you're to become. Having people tell me that I was going to have a house full of children and I wasn't going to be anything, that's what inspired me. I'm the kind of person that if you ever tell me I can't do it or I won't accomplish it, I'll wake up every hour on the hour trying to figure out a way to make you out of a lie. So that's what relegated me to that. Just the pain of my mom and dad separating at an early age. I became an overachiever because I always wanted to try to fix it. So I always maintained a relationship with my dad at the danger of risking the wrath of my mother, which is what I got sometimes. So that made me an overachiever. In my refuge, when walking to here this morning, it took me back home. And the first thing I said to you is, "Oh God, I'm a tree climber. I love to climb trees. Despite the high heels, I love to climb trees." And that's where I found my refuge, in the woods. I would walk, and I would find myself in the woods, and that was my safe place to fall, to connect with nature. That was my safe place to fall.
That's quite interesting, because that brings me to my next little prying question. And all those things are happening at such an early age, and you found, out of those things, you found many different gifts and talents,
Yes.
creative things that also became a soft place to fall.
Yes.
Those walks in nature inspired you to start writing.
Right,
and
definitely. Oh
those
yes,
things.
Lord, yeah. I would go into the woods and I would talk to the squirrels, to the tree limbs, anything that had life, and I would just express myself, and I could be myself. And then after being saved at a very, very early age and being that different kind of child, having the gift of visions and prophecies, it taught me to gravitate to the elders that took me under their wing and kind of gave me that. You're talking about a safe place to fall, but they gave me the understanding and the patience and the love and the guidance that I needed to become all that I am today. So yeah, that was necessary. And then to be able to take pieces of rags and design a playhouse.
We're gonna talk about
There
that.
you go. I mean, that was crazy, but that's how I
That's
grew.
one of those things
Creativity.
out of nothing creating something. We'll talk a little bit more about that because that's a whole nother journey.
Yes, it is.
So when we return, we're going to talk about some of those other creative things that you absolutely created out of nothing and found another someplace. So we'll be back. We'll talk more with Dr. Joyce Keller Turner here on the Soft Place of Home.
A soft place to fall.
Are you covered, protected, and prepared? Don't you want to ease your mind by having the confidence that when the time comes, you and your loved ones are protected and insured? It's as easy as picking up the phone and calling licensed life agent Enidra Wells, 225-936-6017. With care and compassion, Enidra will walk you through the entire process of having you and your loved ones covered, protected, and prepared. No exams, most pre-existing diagnoses are covered, no special requirements. So call today, 225-936-6017, and have the assurance of insurance.
A soft place to fall.
And we're back talking with Dr. Joyce Keller Turner, and you left us on a very comedic moment there. We talked about taking rags and creating tree houses. I don't know where you were going with
My
that.
playhouse. My playhouse. Yeah, I love to design, and because we lived in a 3-room house. Okay, shotgun house. You had your mother's bedroom, the room where there's a fireplace, and then the kitchen. That's where I grew up. So it wasn't a lot of places I had to decorate. So I had a playhouse. And every cup that was broken, I would take it to my playhouse. And if there were old clothes that we had outgrown or just had outworn, I would take it and I would actually tie strings on the trees and make me curtains. I was the only girl in the country that actually had curtains in her playhouse.
That's good, and I hope that some of our young viewers are taking note of that because they get so caught up in electronics and things, using their imagination to create things and do things, and finding that soft place of home. The noise in the house has got to be a little bit too much, and screaming and hollering and everything. But a lot of all of this came in our conversation. There's been a lot of laughter.
Oh, yes.
And I was
definitely.
talking with another friend of mine not too long ago, and they were saying that they were in service one day, and the spirit of laughter just took over. And immediately I started thinking about laughter being as good as medicine. So which brings us to our another thing that you do that I consider another soft place to fall for you is these wonderful skits and monologues that you do. And literally having the audience in tears. So laughter, too, is a wonderful soft place to fall.
It is. It's the best medicine that I have. For me, even growing up, they used to say that I was a clown. I wasn't a clown. I used my personality and the things that I was going through. I used it to create situations to help me heal. And I didn't realize that it was medicine for my soul, but people would laugh at the things that I would do, and it just helped me become a better me. And I just got so good at it, and now I get paid for it. Because being able the monologues. I tell stories and I share pain and people actually grow and they're able to relate. Sometimes you'll even find the people in the audience in tears. They're crying because they're reflecting. But before it's all over, they're also laughing because there's been some healing taking place. And I feel like, okay.
That's why this episode is so wonderful to me. Misery,
Yes.
ministry, and
Yes.
medicine.
Yes.
They all kind of lock forces
They're
and
one.
create a holistic
They
approach
do.
to some of the things that are going on.
Right.
And we have an opportunity, and I use this couch
Yes.
as a great platform to talk about things that people are going through. And somebody will sit back
Hard
and go,
conversations. Yeah.
"Oh, I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been there. Maybe that's what I ought to try to
Yeah.
do. Maybe I ought to try and find laughter or something. Maybe I ought to go and create something. Maybe I ought to go and read something or write something or sing something or play something as avenues of, and these are soft places to fall, people.
Yes, they are.
These are soft
They are.
places to
They are.
fall.
They are.
We would be remiss if we did not talk about some of the physical things that went on, especially this pandemic,
Oh yeah.
and
Oh, God.
how people were affected by that.
Yes.
And you and I had a conversation, and I'm sure you don't mind me
Oh, of
sharing
course not. Go ahead.
that you had COVID.
Oh yeah, I had COVID. Oh God, did I
And there
have
was
COVID.
so much talk, and you kind of opened my eyes. Because I had never, and we talked about the same thing
Right.
in our breast cancer episode.
Right.
People are always talking about the physical thing, what happens to the body,
Yes.
how you feel about
Right.
But nobody talks about what's going on
Mentally.
mentally.
Yeah, yeah.
And you opened my eyes to that, and you were telling me that you wrestled with a whole lot of things in your head
I did.
while dealing with that.
Right, I did.
Tell me, how did that all come to be, and how did you recognize what was going on, and then what did you do to find that restoration and resilience
Yeah.
that
You
brings
know,
you to this point?
I had performed a wedding and I ended up and that was, believe it or not, I always get these crazy things for my birthday. And last year I got COVID for my birthday. So hell of a gift.
What a gift.
Excuse the expression. But you know, to find yourself with COVID, and I was having these horrible night sweats and I was tired and my mind was just like all over the place and I couldn't find any peace. So I'm like, oh God, something is happening to me. And for some reason I ended up bleeding. And then I go to the hospital. And I'm like, okay. I was having second thoughts about COVID and the vaccine and all. And then wisdom snapped in. Barack Obama already said this was going to be 15 years down the road. So here it is 15 years later. We're dealing with the fulfillment of prophecy. And I'm saying, you believe everything else. You haven't done any research on anything else. You better get to the hospital and get some help. So I did that. And in so doing, I found myself laying in that bed and I'm like, okay, God, you've taken me through so much else. Now I know COVID can't be the thing that's going to get me out of here. And I began to speak life to my life. And I began to minister to my son who was in the room with me, who got up and kind of eased out because he's like, okay, here go mama again. And then the nurses came in and I found myself ministering to them. And it just like the healing started. And I know that sounds crazy, but they sent me home. I'm like, I'm not staying here. Y'all gonna give me something and let me go home because I'll get sick if I stay here. But going home and waking up in the middle of the night feeling like I was in someplace else. And even now, people would be surprised at how, since November, the impact of COVID is still kicking my butt. The fatigue. Sometimes I'll put something down in the memory. It's like, I know I did that. And you think you did it and you didn't do it. And people don't realize that COVID attacks your mind. It attacks your body physically. COVID is no joke. And for anybody out there who does not believe that COVID will destroy you, you're looking at somebody that's still fighting COVID. Even though the side effects have not all gone away, I'm physically moving, but there are times when I am just physically depleted. physically
that
depleted.
comes to mind when you say that while in the hospital, while in these, wherever you were going
Yeah.
through all of this, and you started to speak life to yourself,
Yes.
and then you started to minister to others.
Yes.
So we're going to talk a little bit more about how you were actually creating soft places for others to fall,
Amen.
even in the midst
Right.
of what you're going through. There's a lot that we can share right here on the Soft Place to Fall. And we'll be back.
A soft place to fall.
And we're back here at the Soft Place to Fall with Dr. Joyce Keller Turner. And we were talking about how you creating an atmosphere for others, even in the midst of what you were going through. So not only were you creating a soft place to fall for yourself, part of what you're doing was creating one for others. And I know for a fact, because I know you,
Yes.
you have always been an advocate for helping to heal people holistically.
Definitely. Definitely.
Aspirations, which is your foundation,
Correct.
that gives people a cushion.
Yes, it does.
Yes.
It really does. It does. It does. And you know, we just use the word aspirations, but it's so much more than that. It's aspirations, holistic tutorial services. And what's so good about that, we aim to inspire others to be better. And we deal with the totality of man, which means that's what makes him whole. And not enough of us use the teaching part, the tutorial part. And then we want to be in the service of serving mankind. And that's what I love about what we do, because we reach the broken, we have no problem dealing with the battered and the imperfect. And that's what's so good about what we do. It's letting people know that perfection is a state of mind. I feel like I'm perfect. But that is because I'm in this place of Christ, you know. But in my imperfection and all that I am in the human form, that's where God gets the best from me. And this is why aspiration is what it is. Aspiration was born in a grant writing class at Southern University with Dr. Collis Washington. And that's another story. She ended up giving me a B that I'm still having I'm still having problems with that B. I need to see a therapist for that one. And it's been since 2003, and I haven't gotten over it. I haven't gotten over that B.
Let me share it. Get over it, okay?
I'm trying. I don't know about that one. But if I get over it, I mean, I'm accomplishing what those things
No,
that.
you won't.
Yes, I will. Because that B, in some way, showed me that I had not reached that pinnacle of excellence that I thought I had achieved. And I was like, oh no. So from that, God has allowed so many other things to grow from those ashes. From those ashes, where God has taken aspirations to take me from a local place to a worldwide audience. And that's like, dear God, I didn't see it coming.
There has been a lot that we've been able to discuss. Of course,
Yes.
time does not allow us to
Right.
go into all of the things.
Yes.
But what I'd like for you to do, if you'll be so kind, and I know that you will, is share with our viewing audience, because one of my main concerns right now is our young people.
Yes.
And I know that your foundation strives on helping those young people. So what do you say to those young people out there who are going through all of this emotionally, peer pressure, trying to figure out how life is supposed to be? Things are not going the way that they want them, and they think they own this, they deserve this, because it terrifies me when I see the numbers of, especially our
Right,
young black
right.
men who are out here taking their lives.
Yeah. But
So what
that's
do you
despair.
say? What do you say to them about finding their soft place to fall? What should they be doing?
my message to anybody that's in despair is that you're valued, that your life is worth it, that you matter. That's what I would say to them. I would say to them that you're not alone. You may not know me, but I'm an elder now. Oh, I love that word. I'm an elder now. I am your elder. I am your family. And I am that place that you can find a safe place to fall. I'm that auntie that may not be listening. I'm that mother that may be absent. I'm that grandmother that used to bake you cookies and give you biscuits. I'm that grandmother that picks that bowl of cereal. Feel like you can reach out to somebody. You're not alone. You're not alone. And if I was able to make it, growing up at the time that I grew up, and having someone to love me and embrace me, know that I'm willing to embrace you. And I can help you find the value in yourself. I can help you see the good in you where you've been told that you're bad. I can see your worth. I can tell you that you are worth it. You can do it. All you have to do is dream it. You can be it. What I would tell you today is that you're not alone, that you've got me. And I will tell you that I will always be, for you, that safe place that you can call. And I'll do it without judgment. I don't care about race, creed, color, gender identity. None of that. The only thing I care about is you.
And having said all of that, how do they get in contact with you?
Oh, well, I guess they'll just have to call me. You can call me. My number is on the internet. It's on Facebook. You can call me at area code 225-288-8161. You can follow me on Facebook, and you'll even find me on Instagram, and sometimes I do a little TikTok.
Thank you, my friend, Dr. Joyce.
Always.
It's always a pleasure, and I say this with the greatest respect and love for you. You are quite unique. I've never met anyone like you, and I probably never will. But I thank you for accepting our invitation to come here to a soft place of all and sharing your wealth of knowledge and compassion for God and for the people of God. And know that if there's ever anything that we can do for you here at a soft place of all, don't hesitate. It has been indeed a joy and an honor to have my friend Dr. Joyce Keller with us here at a soft place of all. When we return, I'm going to wrap things up as I always do, right here.
A soft place to fall.
This is perhaps one of my most favorite segments in a soft place to fall. You know when you were a child and you did something that you weren't supposed to do, and your siblings would say, I'm going to tell on you. Well, that's what this is. It's called I'm going to tell God on you. But mine is completely different. I'm telling God on all of the wonderful things that you do and ask Him to bless you in a very special way. Our person of interest today is Mr. Sam Dugas. And he is actually the one who inspired this segment. I would always see him running around the church doing things for people, and he actually came to our rescue in the aftermath of our most recent hurricane. And I would always ask him, what do I owe you? How can I repay you for all of the wonderful things that you do? And he told me, he said, do what you've been doing. You told me you were going to tell God on me, and it's obvious that you did, because God is blessing me. And that's more of a payment than anything I could ever ask for. So Mr. Sam Dugas, I'm going to tell God on you. If you have someone you'd like for me to towel on, the information is very simple. It's at asoftplaceofball@yahoo.com. And I'll tell God on them for you. 106.1 is the only Black-owned and operated 24-hour all-gospel radio station in the Baton Rouge, Louisiana market. WTQT is a non-profit radio station geared to uplifting, empowering, and driving our listeners to their destinies. Our programming proves it. We do it through the music we play, the ministries we share, the community involvement, and the underwriters we serve. For the ultimate gospel radio experience, tune into Gospel with a Feeling with Kerwin Fealing, The Voice, on 106.1 FM and WTQT.org. Weekday mornings beginning at 7 a.m. It's Gospel with a Feeling on WTQT 106.1 FM, the People Station.
A soft place to fall.
Misery, ministry, and medicine. Those are three things that we talked about with our guest today, Dr. Joyce Keller Turner. We all go through it. We all go through something each and every day of our lives. We're faced with situations and problems that we just don't know what's going to happen. But we offer you a soft place to fall. And I encourage you each and every time, no matter what's going on in your life, remember God is in control. Keep pressing toward the mark of the high calling, which is in Christ Jesus. Saints. Don't worry about how big things may look. Giants do fall. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. Press your way through. We were reminded in the book of Romans, for I reckon that the suffering of this present age cannot be compared to the glory that shall be revealed in Christ Jesus. So don't worry about what it looks like, sounds like, feels like, smells like. Keep pressing your way through. God has got great things in store for you. Position yourself for the blessings that He already has in place. It doesn't matter how many mountains you successfully climb, how many goals you successfully achieve, how many initials you've earned at the back of your name or added there for your convenience. Only what you do for Christ will last. Find your soft place to fall.
Cut.
He that dwelleth in the secret place of the
Okay,
Most
all right.
High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty.
A soft place to fall. A soft place to fall. Yeah.
I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress. In Him will I trust.
A soft place to fall. Yeah.
Surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. He shall cover thee with His feathers, and under His wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. This is one of my most favorite